Hi guys, and welcome to another Divi video. This is Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Well, we've got another one for our little menu decoration series here. We're going to do a simple push button type effect. If we hover over our little menu items up here, we're using a bit of inner shadow to create an almost pushed in button type effect. And we've also got the same effect on our current page. Really easy to do. Adding a bit of CSS to your site makes it stand out above the others because it makes it unique. Really easy to do. We've got to do a bit of coding for this today, but don't worry about that. Any CSS I write today I'll put below the video and you're welcome to use it and manipulate it how you will. Okay, if I refresh this, it should go back to the default state. There we go. Here's a simple default Divi menu right here. Let's click on one of our items and start decorating it how we want it. I'm using Google Chrome here today with the great inspector tools. Most browsers have this nowadays, but if yours doesn't, Google Chrome is a free download. So I'm going to right click and inspect one of my links here. Now I don't want to be on the actual link, I want to be on the list item just above it right there. And I want to, if I just hover over it, you can see it sort of extends from the word down to the bottom of the header. I want it to extend all the way up. So I'm going to add some more padding on the top. So I'm going to left click, I'm going to say padding, top. Let's try 35 pixels. As you can see, that's pushed it down. But it looks like our text is kind of in the middle of our little row there. So I need to pull it back up by about 35 pixels. So I'm going to do that with a bit of negative margin. I'll say margin top, colon, and give it a negative 35 pixels. Should put it back where it was. That looks about right. And if we hover over, yeah, that's filling up our gap here. So we may have a little bit more than we need there. So you can select your 35 pixels and you can roll up and down with your mouse wheel to make it taller or smaller. Try 34. Now we hover over. Yeah, that looks about right. We can adjust it again in a little while if we need to. Okay, and they've got some padding on the right here of 22 pixels. That's more than I want. I'm going to put about 15 pixels either side so those links appear in the middle of those blocks. So padding right, let's change that to 15 pixels. And because we're overwriting the default styles, I need to use the important on this. Don't like to use that, but if you're overriding a style, it's the only way sometimes. And I also want padding on the left of a similar amount. We're not overriding here, so I should just be able to put it in. There we go. And there we go. Our writing's in the middle of our little blocks there, which is just the way I want it. If you don't want so much padding right and left, obviously put in the amount that you want. Okay, and to make it look like an inset button, I'm going to give it a box shadow. So let's say box shadow, colon. I'm going to say 0 pixels by 0 pixels. So 0 left and right, 0 up and down, so it's central. And let's give it, say, 6 pixels and a color of, let's say, 777. It's kind of a nice little shadow going on there. But I want to inset. At the moment, that's sort of outside like a regular one. So I just put inset before the numbers there. That's more like it. That's more like a sort of pushed in button. You've got a bit of shadow on the insides there. So that's pretty good. Now, if I refresh this browser now, that'll return to normal. Now, we don't want them all looking like that, or at least I don't want it looking like that. So let's copy this and make it permanent. Because like I say, if I refresh the browser, that'll disappear and go back to normal now. Let's copy that. And if, like I say, if I refresh now, it'll just return to exactly how it was. the default. So how do we make this permanent? I need to write it into my theme here. And with Divi, you can go down to your dashboard, to Divi, to theme options. I'm on the general tab, the first tab. Right down the bottom there's a custom CSS box right here. I'm just going to paste my code in there. You can also use the one that's in appearance and customize at the bottom there. It's all the same one. So we want to think about this, because if I save this at the moment, all of our links are going to look exactly the same, and I don't want that. Now when I refresh, because we've written it into the custom CSS, it's permanent, so it should come back. Like I say, I don't want all of my links to have that on it. I only want that to be there when we hover. And I also perhaps want the page that we're on to be highlighted like that, like a pushed in button. So to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this whole section right here. I'm going to drop down a couple. And after the list item, the LI right there, with no gap, I'm going to put a colon and the word hover. No gaps between the I of the LI, the colon and the H of hover. No gaps. Okay, let's have a look. When we're not hovering, I want the padding top to be the same, margin top to be the same, display inline block. We didn't change that, or the font size, so we can delete anything we didn't change there. I want the padding to be right and the padding left to both be 15 pixels on the regular state, but I don't want to see the box shadow, so we can delete the box shadow. And we can probably delete everything here apart from the box shadow, because that's the only thing that would have changed. So let's save that now, and when we hover it should add the shadow, but our shape and size should be correct because we've added all this padding and margin to the regular state. Save those changes. Let's go back and refresh. There we go, we've got a regular looking menu, but now when I hover over, you should see that sort of pushed in button type effect with our inset border. Great, that's great. It's just happening a little bit too quick for me. It's almost happening instantly. I want to slow it down just a little bit. To do that, I'm going to add, in the regular state, not the hover state, some transition duration. And I'm going to slow mine down to maybe half a second. So that's 0.5 seconds. Save our changes. Yeah, refresh and take another look. There we go. That's coming in a little more gradual. To me, it just, I don't know, I like it slowed down a little bit like that, but that's entirely up to you. You have yours as fast or as slow as you want. Yeah, that's great. Now let's make this happen. I want it to be like this and highlight the page that we're actually on. So let's go the page we're on. It looks like hover there. Inspect that. Yep, current page item. If we look here, list item class, and there's current page item, and it's got a couple of other classes, but the one we want is that current page item. So if I double left click on that, just copy this current page item, we'll go back, we'll drop down a couple, and it's a class. All classes have to have a dot or a period in front of them, then the class name, open and close some curly brackets, and inside I can just copy that little bit of box shadow, because that's really the only thing that's changing. Paste that in there. Let's save our changes. Now when we go back and refresh, that hover page that we're on should be highlighted in a similar fashion. There we go. And our other hovers are working. Let's go to a different page. That looks pretty similar to me. Oh, that is the that is the home page. Okay, let's go to a different page. There we go. Here's some hover effects that we built. Great, and as you can see it's highlighted, our little hover effect's working here. So there is how to create a simple button push type effect for your menu on hover. I hope you've found that useful and enjoyed it. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, ring the bell, comment, share and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Once again, this has been Jamie with System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.